I want to work through Psalm 139 this morning as a build-up to a call to prayer. We're going to do things a little bit differently than we normally do this morning because we're not just going to have a generic prayer at the end and then be dismissed. I'm going to call us to prayer. But let's start. Psalm 139 is a special kind of psalm. It is called an inclusio. And an inclusio in Hebrew poetry is a literary device that involves the repetition of material at the beginning of the section and at the end of the section. It's a device used to highlight important themes or to show how the material relates to the inclusio itself. When I explain this, I like to explain it, it's like an envelope. The first and the last are the envelope that contain the whole message. And that's what we're going to look at this morning. That's what Psalm 139 is. So the first part of the envelope is this, Psalm 139:1. It says, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me." And the second part, the end, is Psalm 139:23-24. It says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Those form the inclusio. They form the envelope that let those who are reading understand the point of this poem, because that's what Psalms are. They are poetry. And the point of this poem is simply this: God knows us. God knows us. And as we work through this a little bit, we're going to see how David shows us that God knows us. But as I was writing that, as I was putting this together, the thing that popped into my mind is, remember a few years ago, Sally Field finally won an Academy Award? She had been nominated several times, but she finally won an Academy Award. And when she was standing up on the stage and they had the little gold man in, she had it in her hand, she started, "You like me. You really like me." Well, this is David saying to God, "You know me. You really know me." So in this psalm, David points out several things. He says, "You created me." He says, "You know me." And he says, "You are with me." So let's work through that a little bit. He said, "You created me." Psalm 139, verses 13-16. He says, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." David understood that God created him. David understood that before he ever was, what's that saying? That before he was a twinkle in his daddy's eye, God knew him. God already knew who he was going to be. But David doesn't stop there. It's not just David. This is our God. He is our creator. It's every one of us. God created us. God knows every one of us. He created every one of us. And David then says to God, you know me. He says, you know me. Psalm 139:2. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. David says, you know what I'm thinking. Before I ever think it, you know what I'm thinking. Before I ever go anywhere, you know where I'm going to go. It kind of reminds me of the Christmas song that the kids sing. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake, right? But God isn't Santa Claus. Oh, Mike, it wasn't that bad singing, was it? He says, you know me. And again, this isn't just something that's true of David. It's true of everyone. God knows. He always knows. Always. And then David says something that I think we need to hear today. More than anything else, we need to hear this. Not only did you create me, and not only do you know me, but you are with me. Psalm 139, 7 through 12. Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. David understands something. There's nowhere that he can go that God is not with him. There's no situation that he can find himself in that God is not with him. Think about that for a second. It's true for us too. We might have a tendency to have the same thought that David had on occasion and the thought that he expressed in other Psalms, which is, God, where are you? Why aren't you here with me? What is going on around me? This stuff is happening. Where are you? I can't find you. He's right there. He's with us. He never abandons us. He never leaves us. It is not by mistake that Scripture says he will never leave us nor forsake us. He's with us. Now, to be fair, we can abandon him, and sometimes we do. Sometimes we turn our back on him. But he never abandons us. He's with us. So we have these ideas. He created us. He knows us. He is with us. And in the midst of what David is saying, in the midst of this psalm, there is a short passage that we can tend to overlook or not deal with because it seems so different from the rest of everything that David is saying. In verses 19 to 22, he says this, "Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. O men of blood, depart from me. They speak against you with malicious intent. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with complete hatred. I count them my enemies. In the midst of this sweet psalm, this poem that is saying how well God knows us, and that God is with us, and that God created us, all of these great fuzzy feelings, all of a sudden there's this. I hate them, I loathe them. And we tend to read David's statement. Usually when this passage is talked about, this particular part, it's pulled right out of the context of the whole psalm. It's not used in context with what David has written before it. And we read it as an exclamation. We read it as a declaration of our righteousness. I hate the things that you hate, Lord. I hate the people that you hate. I don't like them. I want them gone. I want them dead. See how righteous I am. But there's something else here. There's something that's a little more introspective. I think David is asking a question, and that question is this: do I really hate those you hate? Do I really loathe those who rise up against you? And this is where the whole psalm comes together. David's whole point. David is questioning his own motives here. I say that I hate the things that you hate. I say that I am for you, God. I am 100% for you. But am I? But am I? How do I come to this conclusion that that's what's happening? Well, because David asked God to search him. He just got done saying how well God knows him, that God knows him completely because God created him and God is with him. And God knows him. And now he's saying, search me, like there's something that God is going to find because he doesn't know it. I think we misread that because this word that David ascribes to God, search me, this request, it's really an anthropomorphism, which is a $10 word for, it's a Disney fable where the foxes talk and the lions talk, and it's attributing human attributes to a non-human thing, whether it be a god or an animal or an object. If I was to say that this chair started talking to me, that would be an anthropomorphism because I am giving to that chair the human attribute of speech. David very clearly pointed out, God doesn't have to search him. God created him. God knows him. God is with him. That's not the point of David's words. The point of David's words is this: reveal to me who I am. Show me who I am. Because guess what? I don't always know. I don't always know who I am. I don't always know what my motives are. I don't always know this. I say that I am for you, but maybe I am not always for you. I say that I am always looking to do your will, but maybe I am sometimes looking to do my will in your name. Search my motives. Reveal to me my motives. And not just for David, but for me too. Because it's not that God knows David more than anybody else, and it's not that God is with David more than anybody else, and it's not that God created David more than anybody else. That is something that applies to each and every one of us. God created us, God knows us, God is with us. And we live in a world that's trying to claim God for every action. There are, we all know the chaos that's going on in Minneapolis right now. There are well-meaning Christians on both sides saying, no, God is with us, we are righteous. And the other side, God is with us, we are righteous. And every one of them are kind of like Joshua. Remember when Joshua was getting ready to go fight the Battle of Jericho, and he went out to pray one night, and he came face to face with the commander of the army of the Lord. And when in Joshua 5, verses 13 to 14, when Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing before him with his drawn sword in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, are you for us or for our adversaries? And he said, no, but I am the commander of the army of the Lord. The clear implication here is it's not whether God is on my side or God is on your side. You guys didn't know Leanne and I are battling, and it's whether God is on my side or whether God is on Leanne's side, right? Except for that's not how it works, and that's not what God says. God says, hey, Troy, are you on my side? Are you on my side? What are your motives? Why are you doing what you're doing? David was asking, am I really following you, God, or am I asking you to follow me? I wrote a post on Facebook a week ago. And I want to read part of it to you. And then, like I said, I'm going to call us to prayer. I started by copying from another post. So let me just read it. And give your church clean lips, so that in a world that grinds people into labels, we become a people who see faces, speak names, tell the truth, and hold up the crucified and risen Christ as the only hope that can heal hearts like ours. This is the last paragraph of a post that I shared this morning. It's a prayer, and I want it to be my prayer, even though there are times when I fall far short of this. I want it to be my prayer, even when it is my life, which I am ashamed to say is far less of the time than when I fall short. I have a tendency to see the world as them and us. I need my Father in heaven to cut that out of me, make myself a living sacrifice. And then I attached a song to the post. It's an old song, and some of you may know it, some of you may not, by a guy named Keith Green, and it's called Make My Life a Prayer to You. This is a time when we desperately need God to reveal who we are to us. Who we are needs to be more than what is on Facebook, needs to be more than what our political party says, needs to be more even than what I tell you you are supposed to be. It has to be what God says that we are. It has to be what the one who created us and the one who knows us and the one who is with us says we need to be. Because guess what? He's the only one that knows. We might think we know, but we don't. We don't know ourselves as well as we think we do. We have this idea that if we just listen to our heart, we will get to where we need to be. But what do we find out about our heart? The heart is sick and desperately wicked. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we're supposed to be. So I'm going to ask us to find a place of prayer at the altar up here, in your chair, sitting or kneeling, standing or walking around, however you decide to pray. But I'm going to call us to prayer, and the focus of the prayer is not going to be something that I lead, is not even going to be something that anybody else leads. But the focus of this prayer needs to be, God, reveal me. Reveal me to me. Let him reveal to you who you are. This is a time of prayer, and it has to include listening. Do you guys know that prayer isn't always just talking to God? Sometimes it's listening to what he says. We have a sign in our kitchen. It goes between our kitchen and our living room. And Sarah got it at, I don't even remember where you got it, but it is a Quaker saying. And it says, let us be silent, or let me be silent so I can hear the whisper of God. There's a time when we need to be silent. We need to ask God to reveal ourselves, but then we have to listen and let him actually do it. And I think we need to practice something that the old-time Pentecostals did. And when I say old-time, I mean, I'm going back to the 80s and 70s and 60s and 50s. And they did this thing called tarrying. They did this thing, there we go, which means to linger in expectation. And it was not uncommon. And I'm not going to suggest that we need to do this, but it was not uncommon that after Sunday night service, there would be people still praying at midnight, 12:30, as they waited on the Lord, as they waited for an answer, as they spent that time in prayer with God. We're in such a rush to move on to the next thing. You know, I'm a football fan, and it's playoffs, and there's a football game that starts at noon. And that can be much more important to me sometimes than this. We need to put that behind us, whatever it is. I used to be able to say the Baptists might beat us to Old Country Buffet, but there aren't any Old Country Buffets anymore. So I can't say that anymore. But guess what? There is nothing that's happening out there that is more important than what is about to happen in here, because we need him to reveal to us who we are. And within this, I will say, I know that there are people that have needs that they need prayer for, and that is fine. And if that is you, find someone who can pray with you about that need. But mostly in this time, we need to focus on, Lord, reveal to me who I am. So find a place wherever it is. Lord, you are amazing. And this morning I just ask, in this moment, in this time, that you reveal to us who we are.